Jeff Biebuyck, welcome.
You got it right.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the Forward One podcast.
Honored. Very honored.
We're delighted to have you here. You've created something absolutely amazing in terms of not just the sales that you do, but also the team that you have, the branding, the reputation that you've been able to build. So it's something I know we're eager to learn about.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Founded on leadership and mindset, and which we definitely very much resonate with. So really grateful to have you here and
grateful
excited to
be
learn.
here. You guys are doing some really cool stuff. I was really impressed when I walked in here. I was like, what is this? You know, I want to up my game. My podcast is like, go. You know? Not that I have one, but it would look like something like that probably.
That's a good way to start.
Yeah.
One of the things you said was cost cutting through AI. So tell me what costs you were able to cut. What tools did you use?
Oh God. Just almost everything from property descriptions. One cool thing we're doing, which I didn't think about this before, we're testing it, so I'll let you know how it goes, is that I'll send them to you. They look really cool. So we took still images of our properties, beautiful photos. Instead of sending a videographer over there, I don't know how they make it do this, but they make the sky change. They make fire happen. They make the water move. And they just kind of just make their own little scene for it. So we created a 30-second commercial that goes on streaming apps, Hulu, all that kind of stuff. Features the agent. So we basically program it in, features the agent on it, features, if you want to have your home marketed in a similar streaming situation, give us a call. Don't have the results on it yet, but the first run we did, pretty economic. I don't know. I got to find new opportunities for listings basically. And that's untapped. I don't know why anybody hasn't tapped onto it. They think it's affordable. You just don't want to look cheesy. Right. You know, you want it done.
So when you say affordable, one of the things you just talked about was the reducing the cost of production. But then if you're putting it on Hulu or wherever, you're going to have a cost.
Pushing the ads out. Right.
So, and I guess you're testing it to get
We're
the
testing
ROI
it right now. Yeah. I don't know. Is it going to work? Look, I failed it 9 times. I literally out of 9 times out of 10, I fail. Sometimes miserably, but now I take educated guesses. So it's not like a major loss, but then I learn from those losses and then just 10X on the ones that do. And the ones that go great, go phenomenal. I've had some good wins on them. That right there, just for that production, probably cost me, and I'm outsourcing it, so I could probably even do it cheaper, $150 per listing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. When you get to that, I wasn't sure what price you were going to say, but when you get to that price, it's like, do you really want to outsource it? I mean, do you really want to bring it in-house? I mean, it's so cost effective.
Well, we were talking earlier. It's like guys like us have to be architects, right? I get the engineering thing in my brain. You have to look under the hood. We can't help it because we have to look under the hood. It's almost like, I got to see what's under there. Just let me look. And I think you just have to understand the basic terminology. You just have to have, just like with finances, you have to know the basics so you can speak to your, what's an S Corp? What's an LLC? Knowing how that stuff, life insurance policies, whole life, all that kind of crap. Once you understand that, then you can start talking to people the same language. So A, you don't get effed over, but B, it helps you be a better architect, basically.
And helps you also identify opportunities that within practicality, right? So you know what the practical implications are to some degree of what you're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, and a lot of stuff that you guys do, I'm sure you found 3 ideas within one. You trashed the first idea and found 2, right? In the middle layer, right? Or underbelly layer. And that's a win. So that's not a lose. It's a success.
It's the whole premise around venture capital, right?
Oh, totally.
Like how many of their deals do they know are not going to go well, but it's that unicorn that goes well that subsidizes everything else.
20X.
Right.
And we definitely, but Jeff, to your point, we definitely work on getting more educated on those guesses. And I think, for example, just the example that you gave is, spending $150 on production value and then throwing some ad spend behind that. That's not a huge outlay for an A/B test. For sure.
Exactly. Great. A/B test. Yeah, exactly. I just did one, I think it was street text or something like that. So Meta can only go in 15-mile radius, right? So we're trying to sell luxury homes. And what I get is 50 million people in Panorama City that can't afford the house. And they're just like, oh, this is beautiful. And then we reach out to them. They're like, who are you? Why are you reaching out? I'm like, well, you filled the damn form out that I paid for, right? And you're like, oh, so you have to just take that and go switch. And how are we going to get around this? And what are we going to change differently? If I stayed there for too long and spent too much money and have hundreds of leads that aren't going to go anywhere, I have to just cut bait, run, try something different.
Right.
You know, and it's just finding the algorithm. And then by the time you figure it out, it's going to change, as we were talking about earlier. And then you got to redo it all over again. So that agile.
Always be innovating.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But the more you understand, what you do, you know, you dig in, you find out what's going on, you find out, you have the foundation and the knowledge on how to flip the switch.
Yeah.
You know, and knowing when to flip the switch.
One of the things that is also the analogy of getting the car out of the driveway, you know, and it was at one of our team meetings. It was a packed house and they were interviewing, guys, should I tell on them or not? They were interviewing Lee Ziff, who's a great realtor, and a really good guy. And he was sort of just talking about his management style. And then he's like, well, because I was in the room, he's like, well, you know, and Paul's kind of the opposite. So, you know, we're both leaving for the weekend vacation and Paul rips out of the driveway and, you know, the stuff's flying off the car. He's losing some of the camping equipment or whatever. And he's out the door. He goes, that's one end of the spectrum. And for me, you know, I'm so busy strapping everything down. I missed the camping trip, you know? So like, you got to find, you got to find. So, and when you were talking about the podcast, we had podcast set up. We had, you know, pretty high production value from the beginning, and the thing wasn't even published. I mean, we just, I hadn't gotten to that thing yet. And I even had guests that was embarrassingly enough, you know, most people don't, you know, now they look us up, right? But you know,
ask, when's my podcast getting aired?
We're like,
when's it live?
And one of ours is a friend of ours who is a great, that guy we won't tell on, but a friend of ours, great real estate team, great realtor. And he's like, you know, where do we even find the podcast? Right. I'm like, wow, you know, and so we probably had 10 or 15 in the can before we even started publishing it. Yeah. And then of course, now getting this sort of meteoric rise, but we started with a podcast that we weren't even airing. Wow. I mean, I knew we were going to air it, but I hadn't figured that part out yet. Let's figure this part out, you know, and then we knew where we wanted to go.
Get started.
Sometimes you just got to jump out of the plane without a parachute. And that's what I tell my agents. I'm like, good, look, we got a big bouncy at the bottom. Yeah. Our team does. We're going to catch you. Yep. But boom, you know, and you push them out and say, see ya, let me know how it goes. And, you know, I had an agent that went to a listing appointment and she was just so nervous. And I'm like, what are you nervous about? They're going to ask me a lot of questions. I'm a female. And the guy is like, I think he's just, I'm like, what are you doing? I go interview them. Yeah. Ask them where they're going. Go talk about them. That's it. And that's all you have to do. And say, I'll get back to you with your price. You don't have to go. You shouldn't go in there with a price anyway. Right. So she did, and she did it really well. And she goes, well, that was easy. I'm like, okay. Yep. Cool.
Spot on. How many agents think they have to talk about themselves as opposed to let the client speak about themselves? Everyone loves to talk about themselves. So ask them questions, get them talking about themselves, and you've won 90% of the time if they're talking the vast majority of the time.
Right, right.
So it's awesome.
I had the great fortune of being on Money Rehab, which is, you know, one of the top few business podcasts. And when we were done, we had a nice interview. She was Nicole Lappin. She was also kind of tough, which I liked. And when I was getting ready to walk, I said, oh, wait a second. You know, I want to get a reaction video from you, because she had another guest that she did the sell me the pen thing. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, we won't get into it. It's an inside joke, but
with the pen,
Gary and I have,
it's got to be a gold pen.
It's actually brass, but anyway, it was, I was given one as a gift. I loved it so much. I started giving them out as gifts. And now Gary won't work without it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So when I forget mine, I try and borrow his, but if he's busy, he won't give it to me. You know, they had done Sell Me the Pen. She'll put her guests on the spot for at least one or two things. And she put this very famous guest on the spot with Sell Me the Pen, and they were getting mixed reactions. And she's like, look, you're in sales. We don't often get somebody in sales. She goes, I'd like to do a reaction video with you and tell us live what you think of what this guy did. And I said, well, I didn't see the episode. So how about this? Don't show me the thing and let's do the Sell Me the Pen. Let's see what's going on. And my first question to her was, okay, do you need a pen?
First question.
Right. Like, do you need a pen?
Genius, man.
Which is interesting too, because really you're under a lot of pressure. And that's what's a good thing to talk to a new agent about. The more
shift the pressure.
Yeah. The more afraid you are, like if you ask a genuine and really good question, because she said, sell me the pen.
Right.
So I'm not making this up. And so I'm like, okay, you want me to sell you the pen? Do you need a pen? And that immediately shifts the pressure back to her. So what's she going to say? If she says no, which she could have, then I'd be like, okay, great. End of, that's it. So she's like, well, yeah, I do need a pen. And I'm like, oh, great. So what do you need a pen for? And
asking the question.
Yes. Yeah. She's just written a New York Times bestseller. Again, her fifth one. And she's like, well, I'm doing a lot of book signings. I'm like, oh, wow. So you're creating a moment or whatever. So you don't want a big pen, right? She's like, no. I'm like, well, do you want Mont Blanc? Do you want, what, I just started doing all this needs analysis and then tying the benefits back to the benefits of the pen that I happen to have, back to what her needs were and making that. And it does seem way more genius when you do it than it actually is, so long as you know how to do it.
Right.
But that's exactly right. So if you're a new agent and I was introduced to Barry Sternlicht, who's a famous investor and by a business partner, and he's like, Barry wants to know about residential real estate and he's waiting for your call. Like nobody gets Barry on the phone, And one piece of advice he gave me, and this guy was very senior. He started Starwood Capital with Barry. Wow. And he said, I'm going to give you one piece of advice when you talk to Barry. I'm like, very welcome. What is the advice? He said, do not talk finance to Barry.
He doesn't even want to talk about it.
No, because he was afraid that Barry is going to ask, if Barry asks you any finance questions, don't answer them because it's going to make you look dumb. And sure enough, he's like, I'm putting you on the phone with Barry because residential real estate and that's why he wants to talk to you, right. Say whatever you want, do whatever you want. But if it comes to finance, just be like, and he even gave me the script. He's like, if Barry asks you a finance question, just go, hey, you're the finance guy, not me. And sure enough, he did ask me a finance question. And I just said, hey, I don't know, you're the finance guy. And afterwards I told my friend, he's like, why would he ask you that? Like he knows the answer to that. I'm like, I don't know.
You just redirected it back.
Yeah. And so if you're a new agent and someone's asking you, any question's a tough question if you don't know the answer, but I get a lot of questions I don't know the answer to. And
the thing is when you try to answer a question you don't know the answer to and you get the wrong answer, then you just blew your trust and you're out. You're done. Yep. So it's so much better. I'd much rather in a conversation with someone to have someone come to me and say, I don't know. Yeah. But I do. What was that Henry Ford story that I don't know, he's in court or something, but he had an industrial revolution, right? So someone had asked him about if you lost all your money tomorrow, what would that look like? And how long would it take you to get it back? He goes, I don't know, 8 months, something like that. They're like, 8 months. Let me ask you a question. They asked him something about engineering. And they're like, so if you're so smart, let's ask you these questions. And he goes, and this is back then. So he's like, do you have a phone? I'm like, what are you talking about? Where I asked you a question. He goes, yeah, I'm getting you the answer. Give me a phone. His people, his tribe, right, who he reached out to had the answer. And he was smart enough to, build the assembly line with a team. Yep. Right. And that's how you build cars is with a team, an assembly line. He was just smart enough to know that. Yeah. But he was smart enough not to try to answer a question.
Know what you know what you don't know, and don't try to pretend. The biggest thing is just being resourceful. Like I always say that's arguably the most important thing. Whether, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to know how to go find the answer and get it quickly. Right.
What's the, gosh, The Virgin Airlines guy.
Oh, Richard Branson.
Richard Branson. Yeah, it's similar. I was talking to a woman and she had this. I'll give business advice to friends, and she had this great business idea, and her dad was a CPA, and I'm like, well, what stopped you from launching? It sounds like a great idea. You're passionate about it. What stopped you from doing that? And she's like, well, my dad's a CPA. I just don't know enough about finance. And I'm like seriously? First of all, you just said your dad's a CPA. You have a great resource. And it reminded me of I watched a TED Talk with Richard Branson, and he was I guess it's almost bragging, but he was in trouble with the board of directors because he had made some moves that, even though he's, the CEO and founder, still have a board of directors. He got in trouble with the board of directors, and he brought his CFO in, and he brought like a couple of other people to help him out. And he's given like the big CEO speech to the board of directors, who are very, very, very smart people, outside directors of a publicly traded company. And the CFO was like, on the bathroom break, he's like, dude, do you realize like you are confusing debits and credits? It's like what they would teach you in like day one of accounting. A guy as smart as Richard Branson was like, he was saying debits when he meant credits, and was saying credits when he meant debits. He's like, they don't expect you to be CFO, but like, dude, don't say debits when you mean credits, So, you have to, stories like that help people like us understand that even somebody like Richard Branson, is sometimes making a very simple mistake.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And we're humans, we're going to make mistakes. And the cool thing is when you can actually own it and recover.
That's
from
exactly
it.
That's it.
That's my favorite part,
Yep.
But
authenticity and transparency to go a long, long way. It's be a human, right? So
these agents, it's funny. It's just mindset, because it doesn't matter if we're selling that pen, selling a house, whatever. It's interesting because what I find is that people's self-limiting beliefs that they built into themselves, like, hey, why are you selling this $500,000 house or a $5 million? Like, why are you afraid of the zeros? They're afraid of the zeros. They think that they have to get this many deals underneath their belt and build themselves up to this level and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? Start now. Go screw up. Go with that agent that went on that. Go screw up. You're not going to go screw up, because if you're honest, sincere, and you call yourself on your own crap, you'll be fine. And if they don't like it, go find a frequency with someone else, basically. And it's no big deal. You have to screw up a little bit.
Absolutely. I always say, if you're not making a lot of mistakes, you're not taking enough action.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
And then what are those mistakes doing? Creating opportunities to learn, to get better, to build more confidence, to build more resilience. It's like the first thing I try to instill in my 10-year-old son. Like, make the mistake. It's okay.
It's great.
We talk about it all the time.
By the way.
Say it again.
It's great what you do with him, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
That made me want to buy a house through him.
Okay.
And I'm in real estate.
I love it. Thank you. I mean, it means a lot. It's challenging, believe me. He doesn't always feel like it. And I always try to instill discipline, consistency. And it's like,
he does a good job.
Thank you. He does. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into real estate? When did you get into real estate? Let's start there.
It was all a mistake, honestly. And I think it's still a mistake. I didn't plan on any of it. I really didn't, honestly. It just kind of happened. I was a musician in Detroit, and I was working at General Motors as a mechanical engineer. And I was playing in the clubs down there. And Detroit's not like it is when you went to visit back then. It was a little bit rougher, And we were playing roadhouses. So if you didn't play, was that not even a Zeppelin song, Leonard Skinner song, Freebird, and you didn't do it right, you get a beer bottle thrown at your head, literally. So you had to be good not to get beat up or trashed, basically. So you cut you cut yourself basically in that network. Somehow I got my first show at Troubadour. Just walked on. Huge Jim Morrison fan. Oh my God, everybody, Elton John, you name, everybody's did that. I was so excited about that. I didn't even care that I was playing there. I was just looking at my feet and going, God, how many other people's shoes and boots stood here that did that? So it was like the bucket list. I'm like, all right, that's a good one. I go, let me see what's next. Whiskey a Go-Go. Okay, let's do that one. So we did. And we went through, we became one of the bigger 80s, late 80s, early 90s strip bands with Guns N' Roses and all those guys. And man, that was fun. what I can remember from it actually. So, so we had a great time doing that, got record deals. Gene Simmons was my manager at one point, like just crazy stuff. You know, a kid in Detroit watching a Kiss concert, scared to death. You know, this guy's like spitting blood and explosions are going over. And I'm just like, I don't know how old, 12-year-old kid. I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that, I think, you know? And I would sit in bed and literally like I would take all these old transistor radios that we could find at flea markets with my mom. And I wanted to go with her. She's like, why do you keep buying all these old radios? I would tear the speakers out and I made surround sound. I invented surround sound.
Wow.
But I would put the speakers, probably the biggest fire hazard on the planet. And I'd listen to early Van Halen and everything. I would lay in bed or get the records and read the records like nobody does anymore. Nobody buys albums and nobody knows that. It's kind of like watching a Netflix and you're into a series. You used to do that with albums. You did it with music and there was no visual. The visual was in your head. And mine was, I was in the band. So I visualized myself all the way here. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. How the frick did that work? So I'm like, well, that kind of works. So let me just think of how other ways I want to do this. So got into real estate, just investing, flipping by accident. Me and my wife, like, you know, she decided she wanted to move. We put some money into it. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money that we just made. But what's this check to this real estate agent? And what the heck did they do except screw it up? I thought, I'm like, well, I'll just get my license. You know, I'll do better than that. You know, so I got the license just to save money. Mm-hmm. Then my rock star friends started buying houses from back then. And I'm doing deals with Meatloaf and all these other people. Mm-hmm. And then I saw that paycheck and I was like, better than flipping burgers or, you know, being a mechanical engineer or whatever. So just got into it that way. And then accidentally just got to growing a team and just getting here and, you know, but it was just that like, not that I'm any braver than anyone. I just kind of saw how the law of attraction and visualization kind of work because I did it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if I can do this from a kid in Detroit that closes his eyes, listen to an album and create surround sound around me and be on that stage. And then to be on that stage, I'm like, this is kind of cool. So I can pretty much do anything. I'm limitless. And not sound egotistical or whatever, but if you believe it, it'll happen. Really. You know, if I envisioned having a team of 100, I'm up to 60. Mm-hmm. Everyone told me I was nuts. Don't do it. Mm-hmm. You're crazy. You know, you're babysitting agents. I'm like, but I love my agents. I love my team and I love coaching them and I like getting them there. That's the part that, you know, but if I listened to everybody else tell me not to do it, I wouldn't be here. Right.
You wouldn't have done anything.
No.
Just to get perspective on it. I mean, this last year might, you know, it's been tough for all of us, but what's a typical year? What was 2021, which is, you know, a great
unicorn?
Year. Yeah. A great year for everybody. Yeah. So
give us a frame of reference.
Frame of reference. We were about 10, 15, maybe 20 agents or so. Mm-hmm. And I think one of our best years was $250 million, like 250 million for a small group, you know, in a very small area.
Yep.
It's great.
The luxury market, I'm in Calabasas. So when those Woolsey fires hit, we got first hit with what the insurability factor looked like. And I'm waving to all my friends going, you guys don't know what it's like over here. It's rough. Then, of course, with the Palisades fire and everything, then now the whole county is just like, holy crap, we have a problem here. And we still have a problem. Mm-hmm. So we went down 60%. And I still had this overhead and it went like this. So now I'm like selling investment properties. And my wife is like, you sell one more house, you're going to be in trouble. And I'm like, oh boy, you know, and I started feeling guilty, like, oh my God, how am I going to put this on? So we grew the agents to about 60. Mm-hmm. Did this little flex thing that helped a little bit.
Right.
But you know, I wasn't afraid to build the team because we don't have a problem recruiting. We have 50 people that probably applications a month, and we pick 5. So we're very selective. And those just come streaming in, and I don't know where they come from or why.
Because of your reputation, for sure. This is a great question that will really appeal to our listeners. So you get 50 resumes. How do you know which 5 to pick? What are you looking for in an agent to join your team?
It's just hungry, humble, and smart. That's it. You know, and it's not in a culture fit too. Somebody that wants to be part of the tribe, somebody that wants to be supportive. I right now can literally go on here and say, guys, I can't make it across town. I got a showing. I got agents that are ready to go for each other. And then we call it investing in the karma bank, because you're always going to need,
That's great.
I like that.
So it's like it's not a lone wolf game for us. It's a pack. Mm-hmm. And if you invest in the karma bank, it gives back to you tenfold. And I can't tell you as a team leader how amazing it is that my agents took over my job. Mm-hmm. And at first I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose control of the wheel. And no. I'm like, what are you, crazy? It's like, between them and some of the AI prompts that we did that they can talk to virtual Jeff or virtual listing coordinator, virtual whatever, we trained in the SOPs. I can call it literally like right now and talk to it and say, hey, what form is that? What do I do? How do I do this? Agents at 8:00, I don't want to get interrupted at dinner or watching TV. So I'm like, go there first. If you don't find your answer, if it's really, really, really important, come to me. But if it's not, the answer will be there for you.
Yep.
So that's how AI kind of helped us out.
What system are you using specifically?
I just literally built my own ChatGPTs, shared them with the team, got my team account basically, have a whole series of them, did a Google site and basically did a little avatars of all of us. It's like, who do you want to talk to? Oh, there's Cheryl over in transaction coordinating. And then just putting the SOPs in there. And they can just literally talk to it. I can even right now talk to a disgruntled seller why you should list with me, and it'll have a really darn good conversation, a really good one. Like I can't beat it, So
you want to demo that for us?
Sure.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Hold on,
I
let me
love
get it. I got to put my glasses on because I'm blind and I forgot my other one. So sorry, guys. All right, let's see. Give me a scenario and I can do it for you.
That's cool. Okay, I got a scenario for you.
All right, let me get loaded up here. One sec. Make sure I get.
And so you're going into ChatGPT, and then you're going into
I'm going
GPT
into
that you created.
Correct. So I'm going to go. Let's just go into. Let me find someone. There's a follow-up boss sales manager, social profile finder, front gate SOI helper. We got everything. So let me find.
Are you using GPTs that other people created, or are you using ones that you created?
We created, yeah.
Okay.
So every meeting we actually record, we get transcripts on it, and we train it, and we upload it. We constantly upload it and train it that way. So
there's an AI guy that we've been working with now. One of the terms that he uses is digital twin, and that's what you're doing.
Yep, exactly. Making an avatar of yourself.
Yep. And then you could create you create the digital twin of Jeff, and then you create the digital twin of all the people on the team. And then what that does is that creates an overlay of a digital twin of the whole team.
Yep. Exactly. Here, I'll show you an example here. Let's see. Hi, I have a disgruntled seller. They don't want to pay me full commission. They don't like real estates in general. And I really want this listing, but I don't want to sell my soul to the devil. So help me get this to the finish line.
Absolutely, I can help with that. So first, you want to acknowledge their concerns with empathy. Something like, I completely understand your hesitation and I want to make sure you feel you're getting value here. Then you can emphasize what you...
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Just role play with me because I need to get educated.
Got it. Let's do it. I'll be the seller and you be the agent. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. So why don't you just be the seller and the agent, play it out so I can listen and learn?
Sure, I can do that. Let's jump in. So as the seller... Look, I just don't see the point of paying a full commission. I think real estate agents are overpriced and I don't really trust them. Now, as the agent, I hear you and I completely understand.
Empathy.
My role is to make this process smooth and get you the best price possible, which means more money in your pocket at the end of the day. I'm here to earn that commission by working hard for you, and I want you to feel that value throughout. Then you could follow up with, let's talk about the steps I take to market your home and how that will actually net you more even after the commission. That way you're empathizing, showing your value, and leading them to a conversation about what you can do for them.
All right, make them really angry and keep it going and get me to the finish line.
All right, let's turn it up. So now I'm the angry seller. I don't even know why I'm talking to you. Agents just want to take money. I could probably sell this myself and save thousands. Now go ahead and respond as the agent, and I'll keep pushing back.
No, you respond for me. I want to hear what you say.
Got it. As the agent, I'd say, I hear how frustrated you are, and I completely understand wanting to save money, but selling a home can be stressful and tricky. And I'm here to take that off your shoulders and get you the best deal possible. Let's talk about how I can actually help you walk away with more, even after my commission.
Okay, that's good enough. Make me a bullet list when I get in a conversation so I have a cheat sheet when I get in there so I don't screw it up.
Absolutely. Here's your cheat sheet. Start by acknowledging their frustration.
So it's basically
That's
how
awesome.
it works. So then this way, if when they have the questions, they could just sit there and drive around and have a full blown conversation
on their way there.
Yep. With the SOP and how we trained it. And it's just not stuff we put in. I got stuff from the best of the best in the industry, whatever I could find, scraped everything, threw in a little bit of our stuff, threw in a little bit of whatever I could find. And it works great. It's just unbelievable. So that helped us a lot.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
What Paul asked you get, I think it was 50 applications per month, take 5, hungry, humble, smart. And so once you identify the 5, those are 5 people you're actually going to meet with. Take us a little bit further into that.
So my son got into the business and I'm like, you're going to have this is going to be rough, because you got to tell 45 people a week. And some of them are going to be disgruntled, and they are. And they actually get mad. Why not? Why can't I be on this team? I'm blah, blah, blah. And they could literally get, so it's giving him good life skills, but he does it politely, does a great job. But it's really, so they interview everybody first. And if they don't get to the finish line, I'm like, don't give me any more than 10. I don't have time. But pick the best ones, and I trust you guys. And they always do. And it's funny because they have fun with it because they filter them out and they laugh about like, well, you should have heard this one, So we just want them full time. Because if you're doing this full time, we train our agents to be full-time agents, not part-time. There's plenty of other places for them to be part-time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I got in being a part-time, right? But for what we do and what we provide the agents, that we go so deep with training and coaching and everything, it is a full-time job. And you can be productive right away. My first agents right now, like they do 8 or 10 deals their first year. They're beating some of the other ones that have bad habits. These guys came in with the good habits. So these agents, if you get them to that platform, and you're getting 35% of the GCI on a Zillow deal. It's horrible because I got to pay them 40%. We have to pay the brokerage. By the time I get done, I make 3 cents, But it gets them that opportunity to get referrals and get them into the database. So, but the cool part is that we give them the lead, the opportunity. Then the senior agents that are on the team, I'm like, you're not doing Zillow. You're not wasting your time running around with buyers because you won't. You're just too conditioned now, like I am too. Yep. Right.
But one of the opportunity costs are of your time.
Yeah,
I mean, relative.
One of the things that you wouldn't even know if you listened to Jeff. So I'll just, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that it is so hard to get a Zillow Flex account. And you have to do such a good job to get the Zillow Flex account and to keep it, so that if you're having your junior agents look after your Zillow Flex account, your junior agents must be doing a great job, unless I've been asleep and missed the last memo. You have to be really great to maintain
conversion,
it.
right?
And people, lots of teams are trying to get a Zillow Flex account and can't. So what guardrails and how do you hold your team accountable? Even to the point of, I'm sure you have a team meeting. So how often is the team meeting? Do you require people to come or not? Obviously we like to think like, oh, well, let's give value and then they'll come. But guess what? We give value and then most of them come. So what's your philosophy on standards? And
what are the standards exactly?
I could write a book on that one. I mean, it's really complicated to keep it. The algorithms, everything, you have to perform every month. It's just like when you're a real estate agent, you wake up unemployed. And at Zillow, you wake up starting every beginning of the month at like it was your last month. And you can totally crush it one month and you can totally screw it up the next. And they're ready to pull it away from you. I personally don't like it. I hate it, but it's opportunities for the agents. I don't make a lot of money. But what I'm doing is I'm training the agents on how to deal with these online leads, as they inquire in, and there's that training with the ChatGPT. Go practice with that. There's I don't know if you guys heard of Shiloh yet. Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh my God. So there's a company called Shiloh, it's a bar agency. Justin, actually a buddy of mine, owns it. It basically you have to go make AI calls. We do them with our AI basically, but you make the AI calls, it grades you, it tells you where you screwed up, tells you how to do better. And if you don't get better than an 8, you don't get any leads. And you have to make 3 calls, and different types of calls, buyers, sellers, whatever. If they don't past that, they don't get leads. So then they're challenged like, oh crap.
I love it.
I got to get a 9, man. Hey, I got a 9. Why did I get a 6? That thing screwed me.
I love it.
So Shiloh's like a lead generating platform that basically
it takes
testing.
It
testing
listens
and training.
it trains, but it also listens to your existing deals and seeing where you screwed up and how you could be better. Okay. So it'll tell you, it's like, hey, slow down, turbo. You're talking too much.
How are you getting how are you getting Shiloh to listen to? You're dialed into Shiloh when you're on the call? It plugs
into Follow-Up Boss. Yeah. And it listens to the calls, looks at all the transcripts, looks at the text messages, pretty much just gets a whole background. And then I'm working with another company called House Whisper. It's one of Spencer Raskoff's groups. We were one of the first people in. I'm like a consultant for them. That attaches also into the CRM. And what it does is it does a whole background. And it literally scans through there and it says, hey, what are they looking on Real Scout? Because we use that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What are they looking on Zillow? What was the last transaction? And it does a whole background. So you don't have to go scrubbing through a whole database of like, who's this person? What are they buying? How much are they buying for? What happened in the conversation if they have kids, when they're moving. So that gives you a really quick snapshot. And then we use AI also to say, I don't know what to say. That's the biggest problem, right? With agents, I don't know what to say. So the AI kind of trains them because after a while they know what to say because the AI gives them the best practices on, hey, I saw you're looking at Calabasas for 3-bedroom houses, whatever, blah, 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 and it just gets a reaction and hopefully it just turns it into a conversation and then turns to conversion. So
are you using Zillow? I think now requires Follow-Up Boss because they acquired it. And actually we know the CEO of Follow-Up Boss. And we work with Andrew at Real Scout.
Oh, cool. He did an episode on here.
Yeah, he did.
I love their stuff, man. My agents freaking love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real Scout, very powerful.
So you use Follow-Up Boss. Do you use it for everything?
Yeah.
Okay, you do. Yeah.
We separate. I mean, the agents that use it and we have obviously other business. We've existed before Zillow, for God's sake. Even though it's like Zillow's like a drug dealer that's feeding crack. You don't want to
charging a lot.
Yeah, and you don't want to be addicted to the crack, basically. Yep. So you have to always have a fitness path, right? Which is a good, healthy diet of SOI, open houses, all the kind of stuff you do, and keep that balance in there. And always try to keep any of the online leads or anything that you're doing in a mindset of this is somebody it's a relationship I'm trying to bring to the fold. That's it. That you have to look at it that way.
So come back for a minute about independent of Zillow, standards for the team, even productivity standards, character standards, participation standards. And then as Paul said, like what does the cadence, what's the accountability model look like for Frontgate?
It's different. So we broke it up. So newer agents that are getting online leads, we use Area Interactive, PPC stuff, the streaming television stuff. Any of the leads come in, they have that same form of accountability. And Zillow really helped us go. I mean, that is like, if they can master that, they can do anything. And if I'm paying for leads, I need them to do that better. Plus I'm making 40% more because I'm not paying Zillow basically. So they make more money as well. So there's a different accountability for that.
Yep.
They have a certain amount of time before they don't talk to someone when they should. Worst case scenario, they get hit with a nudge. And we're working with Batter and a couple other different programs that we nudge them and say, hey man, you haven't talked to this person in 7 days and you met with them. What's up? If they ignore that, it goes into a pond. If it goes in the pond, it's there for anybody to go grab on the whole team. And anybody can go calling through the pond as much. You can go fishing, as much as you want. And if you know how to bait the hook well, meaning like how to look for the fish and how to fish for them in the pond, the better you're going to do by searching by price point, how active are they on the site, how many Real Scout searches. So if you're smart, you could be a real good fisherman in the pond and you could just make a whole living off that. And there's 15,000 leads in there right now as we speak. And I'm dying going, guys, call the pond for God's sake. So new agents have to every day pull out 10 and practice on it. Just call them. They don't have to contact them. Just call 10 and just see what happens. And if they do contact them, then it's their lead and stay in the cadence of what you're supposed to do and go for it.
Yep.
So that's for that. And then the senior agents, we're all working about doing their SOI. Their sphere of influence is everything. We have a different approach. I have a new program I'm going to tell you guys about. It's really cool. It's called localmayor.com. So it scrubs all the local businesses. Basically goes to every business owner, make sure they have a 4.5-star rating, blah, blah, blah. You're going to fill out your directory. And your directory is going to be what you're going to give to your SOI. Hey, I got a dog walker, windshield, whatever, window guy. That directory is a great resource for your clients. It's like a very important resource, an excuse to, everyone's calling us and asking us for that anyway, right? So we go to those local businesses and say, you know what? Not only, and with AI, by the way,
sure,
I'm going to do a blog a month for you. I'm going to do a reel. I'm going to promote your business to my business. I have 30,000 people that go to our website. We have tens of thousands on our newsletters, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put you up at the top of the mountain. Oh my God, that's great, Jeff. How much is that going to cost? 1 referral a year. That's it. Just 1 referral a year, and after a while, they feel like they owe you something because you did so much for them, and it's great. So there's ways that you could do that. You get 100 businesses in there, right? You're going to get, if you get 1 referral, some won't do any referrals, some will do 3. So you'll average 100. Well, you close those referrals 60, 70% rate.
Sure.
Right? So 70 deals times $1 million, 70 million. Boom. You don't need anything, right?
It's always like give first of value, and the likelihood of reciprocation is tremendous.
Which is a great idea with the Google stuff, by the way.
Oh yeah. I'll help. And you're giving us lots of great ideas too. So I'll help you with that.
Cool.
Totally help you with that, because that's one of the ways that you can reciprocate
with those businesses,
to those local businesses.
Yes. We got to talk about that.
Yeah. And the truth is, like I said, I spend 15 minutes or less a day is kind of my rule of thumb. And I have a prompt that I've worked on. So I have help writing that review, and I put lots of detail of my own experience in it. And then it knows how I like to have it written and spits it out. One of the things I do is I never go out to the world with something that's written, that's created entirely by AI, but it saves a lot of time.
Oh, heck yeah. That's what exactly what it is. It saves you time. It helps you scale. You get there faster, right?
I interviewed a woman, it's been a long time ago. I think I interviewed her as a host of a different podcast even. And we should, one of the things we do is we do everything in person. So that's limits us a little bit. And she was in Florida, and like the sweetest woman ever, like bubbly, sweet. And she got almost all of her business from vendors, and she would not use anyone for anything herself unless they gave her, a certain number of referrals a year. And she's like, oh yeah, one of my best friends is my CPA, but she's supposed to give me 3 referrals a year. So, I haven't gotten a referral in 18 months. So I've got a new CPA.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like hardcore. So do you hold those vendors accountable?
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not a big stick guy. And even though Zillow's a big stick, I'm more of a carrot guy.
Yeah. So
our one rule is as long as you try. And if I see you're trying, we'll champion you up to wherever you got to go. If you're not trying, I'm not going to try. I'm going to put my time, and I'll invest my time in you as much as you're investing into yourself. That one rule right there is everything. Because either agents will, self-eliminate themselves from the team or go deep. And if you're showing up, it's just like sports, right? You show up in sports and you're like, man, Kobe's out there shooting freaking hoops after the game's over because he's pissed because he missed that one, right? That's what we look for. That's why we can only find 4 or 5 people. And then out of there, we might only 2 might be good. So it's a process. You have to be committed to it. It works.
It's also per what you say. It's like give people the benefit of the doubt, let their actions speak.
100%.
And what you said is like, I work with those that are coachable, right? You're going to invest time into people who earn your time because they're actually going to take what they're learning from you and put it into action, even if they make mistakes, right?
Sure.
So like, I love it anyway.
So and I think I didn't get the full picture. So, you go to the number 1 dry cleaner and you go, hey, we're going to do 1 blog for you a month. And is that it, or you do other things too?
No. So we put them on. So with AI, I mean, I could do a blog on your thing right on Hollywood Hills, Keller Williams right now and say, hey, give me 5 reasons why I should work with them and why they're so cool. And I'll scrape your everything.
What tool are you using for that?
Just ChatGPT, but I prompted it and trained it on how to go to the Google My Business, find any Reddit reviews, find negative reviews, all that kind of stuff. But I could literally like write who's the owner of this company? Tell me who they are, why they're here, get the backstory. It's online somewhere. If it's not, it won't find it. It'll, you got to just kind of check it, make sure it doesn't ghost out on you or whatever.
Yeah.
But it'll write a damn good review. And I send it to the clients. They're like, oh my God, I didn't interview with you. I go, well, virtually you did. And they laugh. And they're like, this is awesome. I couldn't have written it better. I'm like, perfect. We're going to post it. So then we have auto posts that generate, same thing with the post itself. Sometimes we'll get them to like driving in their car, like, hey, tell us about your business, what people, want to hear that we're going to promote to our business. And most of them participate. It's pretty cool. So between that, we put them in the newsletter. We have a newspaper. Actually, even though we're super techie, I actually have a freaking newspaper, for God's sake.
Printed.
And, somebody might just play Sudoku or read their horoscope, or they'll read an article that we wrote, or it'll be a featured business, which we feature them in. So they go in there, they go in our newsletter, and we really push them. And then we have 4 events a year that we invite them to, basically, too.
So you're creating, so you're touching them in some form like 6+ times a year, I guess.
Almost like, it's Keller Williams, it's like 33
right.
plus.
Yeah.
Between that
touching
and
the
social
vendors.
media.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do to create a newsletter or newspaper?
If you want, I can connect you with them. It's Discover Publications. We work with them. Yeah. And we have 2 newspapers, one for Hidden Hills, which is specific to the community. Because I'm sitting there paying all these magazines and all my competitions in it. We're buried in the back. It's like, I gave it to my wife. I go, find us in there. She couldn't find us. I'm like, first swipe through. I'm like, we're on the inside back cover and you couldn't find that?
Yeah.
So we just do our own 12-page publication that we're on every page. And we talk about what people want to talk about and what people are interested in, the local events and, just being that local mayor kind of a thing. And then we all kind of wrap that up on a monthly thing. So everything has the same theme, what blog we're talking about, what vendor we're championing or whatever. And we put that out every month. And, it works because, we have blogs, social media, all that stuff. And we could be way better at it, but it works pretty damn good. Vendors, they probably own a house, or a lot of their clients do. So not only are they the local, they're like influencers, right? They're just, but they have local businesses. They're freaking influencers.
They are. They're micro influencers.
100%. Right. So they're going to refer you, but they also own a house too. It's like, hey, let me do a market valuation for your house in Real Scout. I mean, I'll just send out once a month, or we do a nosy neighbor thing. Anytime their neighbor sells, they'll get a ping, and they love it. So when you kind of go in there and say, hey, I saw you bought your house. I just did one. You bought your house 2015. I sold it to them. Congratulations, you made over $1 million. It's like making $100,000 a month, just like, wow, good job. And they freaking loved it because it made them feel good. And they're like, wow, it really is like making $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
So just having that kind of knowing their house anniversary and doing a chat GPT that basically congratulates them on their appreciation of their biggest asset.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So there's stuff like that, little stuff you could do that just, it's a value to someone, if anything, it just makes them feel good. Like, well, I did something right.
Yeah.
Now I put myself in the position of, I told you I have a very good friend who's a phenomenal realtor, and I described him as having like, no executive function. Like he couldn't do it on his own because he, could plug into a system like yours and like, and crush it, because we won't mention names. The team he's at is very good. They're not doing the great stuff that you're doing. Now I look at it from his perspective or our audience perspective, and I'm like, okay, so like this guy does, like 9 billion things that I can't begin to figure out what to do. Are you just starting over here and adding one, like you said, you're adding, let me try these 3 tools. These 2, sucked, didn't work out, forget it. We're going to stick with Real Scout. That's really working.
Right.
And then, we've got Follow Up Boss, which has these different plugins. We're trying different plugins. This one doesn't work. That one does. To the point where over the years you evolved into this.
Yeah. All by trial and error and lots of money. So I always tell people, if you're thinking about using a product, call me, because I probably use it. And
we should have called you.
Yeah. Well, what doesn't work for me might work incredible for someone else, or work incredible in another part of the country. See, it's also subject to interpretation.
Yep.
Exactly. So, we use Celebrity Agent, which is great and worked great for us. I don't have to send out 250,000 postcards like I did a year, killing, forests, Now we send out 100 per listing for every listing.
Yeah.
And the ROI in that's been, it's tangible because I can actually tell where it came from because of the way it works, the way their programs work from their postcard. But that's been incredible, but it doesn't work for some people,
So tell me a little bit, you talked earlier about your culture. Obviously, we can tell a lot about what your culture is just by listening to you and your values. How do you, with 60 agents, tell us about how you foster that culture, what the challenges are, what the unique dynamics are. Mm-hmm. And even Paul had asked you, what's the cadence amongst the team? How often are they connecting and touching each other? So give us a sense of what that internal, culture looks like.
Sure. I got a friend of mine, Vril Workman. I don't know if you guys heard of Workman Success Systems. He's in Utah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Guy's incredible. And he asked me to come to, and he coached me, and he only coaches 5 people a year and he's selective. So I got selected.
Like expensive.
About $5,000 a month.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But now.
Not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. Not for what I've learned. Oh my God. So the first thing he did is he put me in this hot seat, and he had all the top coaches that he has in the country. There are also a lot of them are real estate agents, right? And he just tore me apart in a million pieces. And I was like, you know what? I want to shift. I want to change. I'm stuck. I don't know where to change. And I'm stuck in this leadership thing. And I feel like Superman and I feel like a fireman. And I got to put my cape on to save the world. And I got to put out the fires and all this kind of stuff. And it's exhausting. And then I start building resentment. So at one point you're just like, F these people. They don't even see what I do for them. And the efforts and the risks that I've done for them. So he was just like, dude, take your cape off and put your hose down and build a tribe. Let them put out each other's fires and let them go. So that's what we did. We built a culture to where all the agents, literally there's a really smart group, smarter than me in most instances. And I might know a couple more things here and there, but they almost self-coach and self-teach each other, and they have each other's backs. That's one of our core values, is that we have each other's backs. We have the community's back. We have our family's back. It's what you're doing it for, obviously. And it really kind of took off as the proudest thing I've ever done, because it's really hard to do, is to find the right people to fit into that equation, that self-teach each other, that when it's a birthday or it's, someone first deal from a brand new agent, it's amazing. It's like, okay, you got it. You cracked your first one. There's 50 people lighting up the chat, just going, good job, AJ. You rocked it. Da, 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 da. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because usually if it was coming from me, I don't even get a chance to do it. It's so muddy and there's so many people saying congratulations. I'm like, good job, guys. Because they've done it so much. So the culture thing was everything. And culture's not easy, because you got to take your ego out of it. I had to let go of the steering wheel. I had a death grip on that thing. And not because I thought I knew better, but I was afraid to let it go, because if I let it go, I'm financially destroyed and I can't give someone that control, But you'll learn eventually to go, hey, it's okay. Da, da, da. It's kind of like, you have kids when they start driving. You'll see. Scariest moment in your life is that 15-year-old kid and you got nothing. You got a power brake maybe that you're like this going, oh man, but you can't reach for the wheel. They'll get in an accident. You got no brake or accelerator. So that for me, that's scary stuff. And you got to let go. Now I fall asleep if he's driving. I'm like, all right, wake me up when I get there. And then half the time the Tesla's driving him there anyway. Yeah, right. Different world. But you have to do the same thing with your team and your agents, and just have trust, have faith that you have the right people, and
And so how active are they connecting with you and with one another? And what does that be a little more explicit about?
Team meeting?
Yeah. So I have a team meeting on Tuesdays that I run. Me or Dana, either do it. I kept it to 2 meetings for myself because I can be in 20 meetings, right? And there's selective meetings you can be in. So I have like this morning, I had a mindset meeting. So I have a thing called,
team.
For my team, it's called Mindset Matters. You don't have to be there. Almost everybody shows up to it. And we just talk about our mommy and daddy issues and our self-limiting beliefs and stuff, but no negative.
Not necessarily real estate related at all.
We don't even talk about real estate.
Okay.
Well, it'll infuse itself in with situations, but it's mostly about getting out of your own way and having that mindset.
And that's collaborative on Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's interactive?
Interactive.
Right.
Everyone's in. Everybody can speak up.
Okay.
We'll have certain subjects. Sometimes I just let people talk. And it's not, on a soapbox kind of thing. It's like real life stuff,
right?
Why are you afraid to sell bigger houses? Really, why? And then they start talking about it, and there's a deeper rooted issue to that. They all think they need to deserve it. It's like, well, all of us are created equal here, and you have the same right to do what I did. I mean, if I could do it, anybody can do it. So it just gives them that. And when you believe in the agent, that you'd be surprised. And actually, some people just need to be believed in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What do you do?
And so that's let me just close that loop. So that's once a week consistently.
Once a week, yeah.
So it's how long?
However long it goes for.
Okay.
I'll start looking at an hour. My son will be in there. Dad, stop, shut up. You're going too long,
Okay.
But it depends on how interactive people are, and we try to get it, in and out. Then we have a Zillow team meeting. We have, and then now
once a week Zillow team meeting.
Zillow team meeting, you have to do it. To be on Zillow, you got to be on it. We also do classes that we let the agents do themselves. If someone's jamming on open houses, go do a class on it, teach the others, and they'll do it, and they'll come to me. Hey, can I teach this? Sure. Go for it, man. So it's an open forum to do whatever you want. And if you feel like there's contribution you can make there, awesome. The other part of it is that when you have a senior agent and you have a junior agent, we teach really well how to get them, at that appointment basically. But you know what's going to happen when they go to convert that? They're going to get me sued or themselves sued, and they're going to screw it up and probably not convert it. So they have to work with a senior agent on their first 8 deals to pay them 40%. So now my senior agents got this really cool, they have 5 people underneath them. Usually if an agent has to do 8 deals in a year to stay on the team, basically, if you're junior, and after you hit those 8 deals, now you're on the team and it's based on your GCI, what split you're going to be at basically. But they have the same opportunity once they get good at conversion and contracts to do the same thing. And they're all fighting to get to that spot to make that extra. I mean, I have agents making $150,000 extra just helping out the other agents.
So the senior agent has 5 juniors, and the juniors are supposed to be doing minimum of 8 deals.
Correct.
So that's 40 deals in theory that the senior agent is getting a piece of.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting.
And what piece does the senior agent get?
40% of the GCI. And if you think of Zillow, they're only getting 35% of the GCI, and then they got to give up 40. So it's like, why would they do it? Well, they're a young agent making like $4 or $5 a pop on a deal. Get 8 of them underneath your belt, and then you'll get on a regular split, and then you can just grow, from there. So it's almost like commercial, real estate. It's kind of the same kind of a thing, like, cut your feet. And they'll have opportunities. I have agents that are thriving, crushing it. They wouldn't have done it. They would have failed.
And what you don't realize, or you probably do, is that first of all, the mindset, just the fact that you do a class on that weekly in and of itself creates a culture that certain people are going to be attracted to and others won't.
Right.
Number one. And then, the leadership development by being a senior agent to cultivate the younger agent. It's pretty cool. Like there's a lot of things that are happening there that explains the kind of culture of collaboration. One of my favorite statements is none of us is as smart as all of us, right? 100%. So the more collaborative we are and the more we help and share, the more we elevate everyone, Oh,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is once you start making that, so you get, you're doing your SOI stuff, I have agents that make well over $500,000 a year. And now they got extra money. I'm like, okay, so don't go out and buy the Versace belt and the dumb car and all this other kind of stuff. We're going to invest in real estate together. So we pool our money together. My family owns 80 homes in Vegas. We buy in Vegas because tenant landlord rates are a lot easier out there basically. But we flipped hundreds of houses out there, buying them at the auction. So even here though, if we find a good flip, we'll put our money together, pool it. And if you got 10 grand from this guy and 100 grand from this guy, whatever, your percentage of that return, and we get 40% returns on some stuff. So if you get a 40% return, if you put in 10 grand, right, you'll get 40%, it'll be a 40% average. So you make $4 grand, whatever. So depending on
100 grand in, you make 40.
Yeah. And turn that over and we'll flip something like, we're not crazy on it right now because the market's slow for flips, whatever. But we'll find enough, and we haven't had the team launched on this. I'm just doing it with a handful of us and just, getting it grained in. There's a lot of, you got to be careful with it too, as far as like, you don't want to go in and start, oh yeah, Jeff's team just buys properties out from underneath you. You got to be careful of that.
Sure.
But it's just the opportunity to become an investor.
Yeah. To help them build wealth.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you've been doing this for over a decade, and you're a liar if you say otherwise. I'm sorry, not you, but I mean in general. But if you're a real estate agent and you say, what's the dream? What's the end goal? Where is this you want to go? I want to retire. I want passive income and I want to invest in real estate. So I'm like, oh crap. So maybe I should just build a team that focuses on that. And so we did. So it's kind of like,
love it.
that's the goal. They're all future investors in the future for us. And we're not there yet, but we're getting real close.
And so to that point, so you have 60 agents now. You're doing approximately annualized 300 million?
300 million this year.
Okay.
Looks like we're projected to do 300. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. What does the ideal world look like for you 2 years from now, 3 years from now, with respect to your team?
I don't put a goal on it because then I cap myself, so I don't really I just, whatever feels good, if it's feeling good and it grows, then great. And then I kind of look back at the numbers in the rearview mirror and go, oh crap, that's cool.
Is there a certain, do you have a certain passive income goal?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it's ever going to be passive because I love so much what I'm doing that I like to have my fingers in it. I don't want to work myself to the bone. It's been a rough 2-year, run. 15-hour days, selling houses, losing money. It wasn't fun, back to the unicorn days or whatever. So I don't know if it's going to be passive. And I don't think I'm in a place where I want to, the team is a family. So I'm not going to sell them like cattle for the highest bidder or whatever. If things making money, I'm going to leave it alone.
Okay. So I meant it really in a different way. And that is one of the things that I do is I measure the amount of passive income that I'm, because we're working hard, so you get your active income. And then as you're building assets over time, that the assets working, the money working for you. And are you measuring that? And do you have a goal for it?
I want all my income to be passive eventually or close to passive as possible because, and I think it's doable. I mean, if you think about it, for me to do 300 transactions myself is, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I wouldn't even want to do it. But if I look at my team and say, well, I did it, but I did it with a tribe. So I'm doing it. They're just doing it with us. And it might not be as much money, but look, I make money on a house that my agents close. That's passive, semi-passive, right?
You talked about buy and flip, but you also said you have a buy and hold portfolio.
Yeah.
So
I used to. I sold them all. I was pretty close to it. I was dumb. When the market hit, I was building, and I had a $4 million home run house I was building out. I'm like, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
Lost $1.5 million on it during 2008. I had a countrywide loan. Construction loan. I'm like, hello. And Bank of America, like, no, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah. So wiped us out. Literally like had to short sell stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. And here I am managing the Sotheby's office in Sherman Oaks. And I'm supposed to be somebody they look up to that doesn't mess up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a total imposter syndrome. So I just flipped the script. And I remember the day it happened. I stood up like, hi, I'm Jeff. I just lost a house to a short sale. And they started laughing. And like, what? And I told them the real story. I'm like, it happens with all of us. And if I didn't take that chance, it wouldn't have happened. So one of my guys that was in that meeting, true story, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen's dad. Yeah. He was just kind of playing golf, part-time real estate. And he's like, hey kid, I want to invest in that Vegas stuff you're talking about. I'm like, all right. So I got him and 3 other investors. There was 400 auctions a day at that time in Nevada at the courthouse steps. They ran out of houses. People ran out of, or no, they didn't run out of houses. They ran out of money. You literally couldn't buy anymore. I remember I bought a house for $19,000 and I pulled up, my car was worth more. I'm like, and it was a Shea home. It was kind of a newer home. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. And it was a good run, and I had a family member that really doubled down, sold a company for a lot of money, and he has 80 homes. Right. And he died, unfortunately, but he gave 20 to each kid. They all have passive income. They're set for life. He bought them for nothing. 60 grand. They're worth 400 or 500 probably right now. Right. Wow. Yep. So we do the same. Thank God I bought what I bought and I had the cash flow to sell what I did to keep the company going when the stuff went down. And I'm not afraid to tell anybody these stories because it's true. Yep. And, I'm not made of money. Yep. There's years we make a lot of money and there's years we lose a lot of money. Yeah. And I'm just trying to find that balance, wherever that's going to go. And we're breaking even now. I'm so happy. Yeah. Breaking even.
And I'll tell you that as a broker, as an owner of a brokerage, it's so high volume, low margin that when it shifts on you a little bit, man, it can be crushing. And
it's and
if I didn't have the assets that I have, and I sold a lot of assets in order to keep the thing afloat, because I believe in the whole company, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. There's no question. And one of the things that I do on the real estate investing side is I'll measure. And I'm really going to have to do. I'll do a short podcast on it so I can get it out there. What I call it a dream budget, because I was teaching. It was when we were launching our book. It was in front of a big audience, and much like what you talk about. If I get stuck with a question, I default to the truth, which even if it's not the great, I was sort of talking about, doing my whole wealth building shtick, and, vision board was at that time a piece of it. And somebody raised their hand and said, "What's on your vision board?" And I went, okay, so I don't have a vision board, and then they were, large audience, and whoever it was, I can't remember who it was. I'm sad to say, sent me a board that I could do a vision board on. I still didn't do a vision board because, taking the photo of the private jet and, using Photoshop to put my name on the side of it that doesn't motivate me. Right. But what I did that motivated me, I never thought about sharing it because I thought it was such a nerdy thing to do, was create what I called a dream budget. So the dream budget would be, what are my current expenses, lifestyle expenses, what's my current income? And then just, one little step above, like where would I like things to shift? Right. And then what are the expenses to get there? And one of the things that I did that's different than a regular budget, basically it is just a regular budget, except that, I have a line item for savings, which for me personally is very small. It's only what I put into my retirement account and is invested generally, was investing in the stock market. And that's very small, but I had another line item, which was investing. And that line item was very large. And I was always, one of the reasons why I generally don't do, even today, flips. Number one, I'm not good at it because I'm great at finding a property, evaluating it, finding the value add, all that sort of stuff. It's like all this work to get the property, and then you actually have to do something with it. And that's the executive function. And, I lose attention or whatever. So I find that property. Now it's mine. So I can take my time, reaping the upside of it. And then I just hold it. Period. And then you get this passive income. So that's the investment piece. And then the other line item I have is contribution. So what do I want to give back? Right. And so otherwise it's just lifestyle plus savings plus investment plus contribution. And where do I want to be sort of 2 or 3 years from now, which is a small jump. And then there could be either 1 or 2 more, which would be what's really living, and then what would be off the chart. And then just having those numbers, it gives you an idea of what sort of income it would take to do that. Throwing another additive to that is that I was listening to, I think it was the Milken Institute, which is a huge thing, and they get crazy speakers. I think it was Charlie Munger at the time. It's Warren Buffett's partner. But he said, in terms of building wealth, the flywheel explodes when you have enough, when you get enough passive income, that passive income buys another asset. Exactly. So, and one of the things I measure is getting to a point where your passive income meets all of your lifestyle needs. Right. And then to go beyond that would be passive income that meets your lifestyle needs, plus your savings, plus your investment. That's where you get the Charlie Munger flywheel thing, plus your contribution. And then at that point, I call it defying economic gravity, because, it's going.
Yeah. Once it's going, it's going.
It's going. And frankly, probably like 2006 or whatever, I really felt like I had achieved that. And then, market crash and everything else. And it took, a big step back in terms of funding my whole lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But I do measure that and it might be an interesting exercise.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to do that with you.
Yeah,
actually.
let's do that.
It's weird because I had an unfortunate situation where we had my wife's mom passed away. Mm-hmm. Salt of the earth. This woman didn't have a bad word to say about anybody. We had a good life at the end, and she ended up being 95 years old. So It was a good life, basically. But I was talking to the hospice lady that was there, and my brother-in-law came up. He's like, "God, you have the worst job in the world." And she goes, "No, I got the best job in the world." And he goes, "Why is that?" And she goes, "Because I get to hear what people say at the end of their lives of what they wished for and what they did." So I was like, okay, so we should probably get her on this podcast. She was phenomenal. So number one, she was kind of like I wouldn't say an atheist or whatever, but she found faith from, I'm trying to push faith or whatever because I'm not that guy, but she found faith because she felt that there was something else bigger than us. And then she also found out that some people that were billionaires that she was bedside with, nobody showed up. Nobody came, nobody cared.
Yeah.
Or like my mom, like everybody shows up, the kids, the grandkids, it's just like everybody was there to support. And she left behind, she was a rich woman in my opinion, because every day she teaches me not to be judgmental. Right. When I met her daughter, like I was a hippie. I had long hair and I walk in the door. I'm not actually like,
presentable.
I don't know if it would have been like, "Hey, there's my new son-in-law." And she was like, "Oh, you dress neat." And I'm like, yeah cool. And then we ended up being like best friends to the end. So it was interesting because I thought she died rich, because she just left so much good stuff behind.
Yeah.
It's that good stuff behind you leave. And then you see the people that you don't take any of this crap with you.
Yeah.
So everybody's that Jim Morrison line, your whole life you sweat and save building for a shallow grave. Right. So, and money's awesome. I love money. And it took me a long time to say I love money because I felt guilty. I freaking love money. Yeah. Everybody loves money.
Yeah.
But what do you do with that money? The philanthropic part, like you said, right? And creating it. So if you wake up every day doing what you love, that you're passionate about, and that makes you happy. I wake up every day excited. I get up, I shoot out of bed like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, full of ideas, can't wait to start the day. I get bummed when the day ends. It's not long enough.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's nothing more valuable.
Right.
Like,
and then someone says, "Are you tired?" I'm like, hell no, I need 10 more of me. This is freaking fun. And as long as I'm having fun, the money and the byproduct and everything just comes humming along with it. It's really weird.
Create enough value for others, and then money's just a natural byproduct.
Yeah.
And it comes back to, like, even as you mentioned your mother-in-law, your legacy you're building every single day by the impact you're making on
with
others.
These people. Right.
That's it. Yeah. Right. That's the key to it all. And you could be the richest person. I mean, how often do we hear how many rich people are lonely, miserable, all that stuff. So money definitely provides opportunity, provides freedom to a large degree, and it does not buy happiness. So find out what you love to do and just go all in on that. And usually it means impacting others because we're social beings, right? So we love that connectivity and so I think I love it. Yeah.
And money's energy,
it sure is.
Yeah. And so, when I as we mentioned, wrote the book Pre-Chat GPT, it was a heavy lift. And my nephew, back to faith, we're a Jewish family. My nephew is a Christian minister. That's a different story. And he's just a salt of the earth guy. And he really never has a bad thing to say. So you have to understand that as a context. And, I was talking to him about what a pain it was writing the book and and obviously it's about building wealth. And he said to me, he's like, well, money isn't everything. And it's just such an interesting thing to say. And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm writing a book, but whoever said money was everything.
Exactly, right?
Just to begin with, I didn't say that. And secondly, money's energy. And you know what? He's on a path where he's probably not going to have a lot of money. And I couldn't think of somebody that a lot of money, in somebody's hands wouldn't be better placed, in his hands because, and I said, what would you do? What would you do if you had a bunch of money? He's like, oh, I would do this. That's great stuff. It sounds like money would be a great thing.
Helpful.
And the other thing too is like people are like, well, time and money. And, if you spend all your time making money, you've lost all your time. You can't buy time back. And the truth of it is you can't buy back time.
Right.
But boy, money saves you time moving forward.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I mean, and it's just like you said, it's a frequency. It really is. And it's a byproduct. Where I grew up, money was, only bad people had money because they had to screw someone over to get it. I'm like, that's what I was taught. So if someone was rich, they were bad.
Yeah.
And I was just like bad
Yeah.
rich person. Right.
Yeah.
And, God bless my parents who, I hope they don't listen to this, but that's how they were brought up. And that's how it was brought. And it took me a long time to get deprogrammed from that prompt and from that negative belief that still creeps up.
Yeah,
sure. You just have to be aware. And when it does creep up, it's like, hey man, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah,
sure.
Back out of that.
Yeah.
So it still creeps up, but I know I'm aware of it now and I know how to flush it out. And get rid of it,
I'm just going to say the power lies to me and more than anything is in gratitude.
Everything.
So I mean, like that there's so much energy and power and just and it's not, none of the stuff's easy. And if it were easy, not only would everyone have it and be doing it, but the difficult times make you appreciate
everything,
the victories that much more.
What I started doing, this has been really powerful. And it was just, I don't know why, but I just started doing it. And I was tracking every day an agent gets a new listing, one bombs out, one sells, whatever. I actually take the time to, reach out to them. Awesome job, right? That's huge because that's starting with gratitude. And then I go on Facebook or wherever I have the birthdays and I wish everybody, whatever day it is, happy birthday to everybody, right? And I start my day just telling everybody how great they are and happy birthday. And then my day goes freaking really well after that. And I've done it.
We're in alignment.
There you go.
Every day.
Yep.
He does it too. And it's one of the things that I want to learn from the two of you is just to do that birthday thing.
It's amazing how much people are grateful for that. And how good does it just make you feel? For me, I know I speak for you too.
Yeah.
It's win-win.
Well, do you I love when people tell me, I don't even have people on Facebook. It's like, I don't even know they knew me.
Right.
Or some weird stranger, like I kind of knew them or didn't know. And they were just like, hey dude, just want to wish you a happy birthday, whatever. You don't have to get super deep on it. You could just, make it super quick, but that's a big thing. And
the little things matter, right? And it's like part of acknowledgement, appreciation, gratitude.
Yep.
It's amazing how
doesn't take
far
much time,
those,
right?
It doesn't at all.
No.
And they become habits.
Yep.
Your world just elevates.
Then you get bummed when you miss it. You're like, shit, I'm like 3 days behind on birthdays. I'm like, going through it or whatever,
Nice.
Beautiful.
We could talk forever.
And
you really, have taught us a lot. There's no question. And then also, I'm sure our audience really, really enjoys it. And I hope that this exposure to who you are, I know you're out there a lot, but the exposure to who you are will drive, the best young agents to want to work with you and for you. And also, I can't imagine that somebody that was listening to this podcast wouldn't say, this is a guy that I'd like to have represent us in the sale of our house.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yep.
So, I appreciate the opportunity. This is great, guys.
Yeah.
We have a lot we can learn from each other. We're going to jam out.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
Now we got our theme song too.
I know. We got a theme song.
Right, yeah.
You missed that, Sarah.
Yeah.
He wrote us a theme song on Suno, which we appreciate.
Yeah.
And tell us your son's name, because I know he's in a band.
So his band is Cursing. It's called. He came up with that name. I'm like, Cursing, dude, seriously? But it grew on me.
Right.
Let me see what it is. So the band's called Cursing Official on Instagram.
Nice.
And he plays all the local stuff, and he's phenomenal. He kind of reminds me of that Youngblood dude a little bit. He's like God, if he listens to this, he's going to kill me, but he won't, so I don't have to worry about it. But he's just a.
And what's his name?
Max.
Max.
That's my son's name.
Is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. I think I remember that. Right. And then we got other son, Brandon. He works for us. He does all the recruiting. He's the one. He's the one that has to talk to all these incredible agents. Who reach out to us. Brandon.
Okay.
Yep.
How old's Max and how old's Brandon?
Brandon's 23, Max 26.
Wow.
That's cool.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to go see, I'm going to go see Max play.
Oh, if you come out, it's fun.
Yeah.
Half the team who shows up a lot of times.
That's awesome.
This is cool.
Yeah.
It's an excuse for us old guys to get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, my bedtime's 10 o'clock. What the hell am I doing here?
That's awesome.
So we end with what we call the fire round. So we'll ask these great questions. We could go on, but we don't participate. So that keeps it a lot. That's what makes it the fire round. So what is your idea of perfect happiness?
Just being in the moment, as silly as it sounds, just like living right now in this moment and not having worries about the past or the future, because I can't predict the future and I can't change the past. So I'm just jamming in. This is cool. Love it. Don't interrupt me. I'm just having fun. So
awesome. What's the attribute you most admire in others?
That's a great question. I would say the ability to see ourselves in each other, as corny as that sounds, right? So, because we are the same thing. This person knows a lot of stuff. I don't walk in their shoes. I don't know what they've been through. They don't know what I've been through. So it's giving that compassion of like, yeah, we just lost a family member, or somebody went broke, or someone just won the lottery. Who knows what's going on? But you have to have the respect in each other's life to just be, basically, and not, you haven't walked a mile in their shoes, so don't judge,
And what's a trait that you don't like about yourself?
I would say, I can tell you what my wife doesn't like about me. It's probably the same thing. I'm just like, we're architects, like we talked earlier, and I wake up with just crazy ideas and I just love creating. And sometimes I could sit there and I'll be in my pajamas for 2.5 days and don't even realize I was sitting there and my knees hurt. I'm like, oh my God, it didn't work out. What the hell's going on? And she's like, you didn't eat. So, I really working on the ADHD, whatever the heck it is, but there's something there, but I don't like that about myself. I want to be able to take breaks,
Very cool. What's your greatest extravagance?
You know what? My greatest, it used to be, it's not material anymore. Mine is for my family, basically. So my extravagance is, hey, there's a $30,000 dental bill that, that just came across, right? Or, investing, with the kids, like, hey, Dad, it's crypto thing or whatever. And, he lost 10 grand first round or whatever. That's kind of extravagant because, you're writing that money off. But it was his chance to get a shot to learn something and be careful. And he's not going to make that mistake again or do it differently. So
very cool.
What's your greatest fear?
I'm really working on not having one. I'm not afraid to die at all, only because I just know there's a bigger piece and this is just part of the ride. So that just takes everything out of it. So I'm really learning not to be fearful and eliminate it. Do I have fears? Sure. Everybody has fears. But when I see something I'm afraid of, I eliminate it as fast as possible.
What's your greatest achievement?
My family, my kids, my team today, I think my greatest achievements, like, who knows what it's going to be? I don't even know if I'll be doing real estate. Maybe I'll be an AI consultant. I have no idea, but I just ride the wave and whatever comes is cool. This has been an incredibly weird life so far. It's the strangest life I've ever lived. Right? And it's just amazing. And so I know there's more stuff. There's still more time. So I don't know. I'll let you know, or you'll read about it, or maybe not.
What talent would you most like to have?
Almost everything. The problem is it's like, master of, what do they call that? Jack of all trades, master of none. I somehow want to be a master, and sometimes it's just good to be the jack, and, the master takes 10,000 hours of doing it. I don't have 10,000 hours. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Not really good answers, but
no, they're great answers. And, I'll break the rule and, we're not supposed to comment, but I could also end with, unless you had one more.
No, you fire away.
I'll break the rule and say that when they did the research on Malcolm Gladwell's, because that's where the concept came from, 10,000 hours, he actually misquoted the study that was underneath that. And it was not 10,000 hours. It was purposeful hours. So, which actually makes sense when you think about it, because you could do something for 10,000 hours,
waste them
and waste the time and not be purposeful. And the flip side is, if you're very purposeful, it can take you way less. And I have mastered things in a lot less than 10,000 hours, but just like while I'm doing it, I'm like watching every, very purposeful. And I definitely see you as very purposeful in so many of the things you do. So I think maybe you can be a master without the 10,000 hours.
Well, you should write a book about hacking the 10,000 hours. That would actually be a really good book.
That's a great idea.
10,000 hour hack.
I'm not sure I know what mastery is, but anyway, I'll figure it out.
It's like, what was that movie with the 6 minute abs?
Right. Yeah.
6 minutes, man.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Don't fast for 22 hours like I do, and then 6 minute abs will work. Just right for you.
Do you fast?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, wow. 22 is good.
I either sort of do it or I don't do it. Like this morning, I started with a protein shake, which means I'm not doing it.
Right.
But then I still won't eat until I'll go do yoga, and then I'll eat dinner. But a lot of the days, maybe even most of the days, it's just one meal.
And what's the room for fasting for you? What is that with? Is it with inflammation? Is it with just for your body? Because there's so many. I fast too. I haven't eaten yet, so I'm just curious why you do it.
Well, it does all those things. So for me, it's a tremendous weight management thing. I don't feel like I'm on a diet because, at the end of the day,
eat whatever you want.
Eat whatever I want.
That's awesome.
And then, and then like after I get done eating everything I want, then, my fiance and I eat like ice cream cones or whatever. Right. I don't worry about it at all. And then, there is a longevity and, there's a longevity and an anti-inflammation aspect to it for sure. I started, I had some blood measures, prostate cancer, which runs in a lot of people's family, runs in my family. And I just had the blood markers going in all the
PSA went wrong.
Yeah.
Those are scary numbers,
It's going all in the wrong direction. And then, I have a top doctor, at Cedars, my internist, Harvard grad, Cedars-Sinai, sends me to the Cedars urologist. And, 4.0 is sort of the, number where you got to get real worried. And my graph is like straight like this. And the last visit I had with him, this is a while ago, is 3.9. And where's this going? And his advice to me was come back in 6 months and we'll test it again. And you're gonna wait for me to wait for me to get cancer to do that. And so that was a while ago. And then that's what started sort of the fasting and then all sorts of things. And then I had this sort of great correction. And then I let my foot off the gas. It started to climb up again. And so here I am again, back with the
lifestyle,
double down, double down with.
And it's like focus on what you can control, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not, but they're saying cancer is either can't live or it's really hard to not with inflammation. It's just a conductor for it basically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I had after COVID, I don't know why I never had any kind of problems or anything, but I had back issues. And I'm like, why the frick is my back hurt? And I go in there and they do a thing on my neck and my arms are going numb and all this is really weird. Oh, you have acute arthritis, like bad. I'm like, what the heck? And they think it was COVID really. Who knows? So surgery, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm not doing surgery.
That's
even though I am old, I think my head I'm much younger.
Oh, that's good.
So I had this doctor at UCLA just said anti-inflammatory diet and cold plunge therapy. So I bought a cold plunge and I get in 40-ish degrees water every day for 6 minutes and it's brutal.
He's a huge cryo guy.
Yeah,
I do cryo?
Full body cryo. I do think that the cold plunge is more brutal because water transmits temperature 25 times as much as air. So I get in that cryo and it is minus 250 degrees. which sounds insane, but I got to tell you that it's not a plunge, right? So like you have your skin's warm. So you step in, you're like, oh, this is a little chilly. Now it gets very cold very fast, but it's still not the shock of
I'd much rather do cryo than
it's
the cold.
brutal.
It does get brutal. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. But your brain gets trained to it. And so like now I'm in a meeting, I have my headphones on and like, are you in the bathtub? I'm like, kind of. But, you know, because you get mine has got a motor. It's like a $5,000 piece of equipment. But I bought it. And guess what? No pain. I'm out of pain. Inflammation's gone. Doctor's like, okay, cool. Because you can't get rid of arthritis. You can just basically take the inflammation off and keep your joints basically going. So,
but you can dial it. You can dial it way down. And I listen to the health podcasters a lot, and some, you know,
the aches and pains are accelerating for me. I'm a big fitness guy, and I'm very active.
Out, you're like, avoid getting hurt.
I don't want to admit it, but it's every day. It's like
changing.
So I may be doing some of that stuff real quickly.
Know, and if you fall, like I really don't follow the sports careers really. But I did hear an interview with Tom Brady, and he said that it was still a few years before he retired, but he was much later in his career. Yeah. And one of the things, because of politics or whatever, you know, he did a lot of yoga and mindfulness and very strict low inflammatory diet. He didn't talk a lot about that because
maybe that's not cool
politically correct for his demographic or whatever. Right. But one of the things that he said was that, you know, when he was in his early 20s, when your body really could recover, that he would, you know, he'd be like sore as hell for like 3 days after a game. And that, you know, 15 years later, once he changed his diet and all these other things, that he recovered so much better as an older man.
That. Where was that? I read something.
I don't know. I heard him speak about it. So he must have talked about it quite a bit. I heard
that. Yeah. And he said he was recovering at his age better than he did when he was
20. In his 20s.
Yeah, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah. That's also what older people say when their contract is coming up. You never know. Too. So last question, again, we could talk forever. And last question is, so LA has a lot of great vistas and hikes. One of the things I love about it. And you go on this hike, climb all the way up, sort of a hard hike. You get to the top, and you look down, and there's your wife and sons and your client's community team and your whole community. And you look down, you shout one thing. What do you shout?
Fuck yeah.
Yes. I love it.
Love it, man. Just dynamic and inspirational.
That was fun.
Really fun.